Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of Tackling Tacos, a fishing podcast. We are back for episode number
19,
Nate. We just had a brilliant little conversation before, well, I guess we already hit record, but before, hopefully I can edit that out.
Please
where
do.
we couldn't remember what episode we're on.
Let's hope.
Let's hope. Yeah, we said something last week, I think, with Austin about how we're not going to say that thing like we don't know what we're doing, but like we keep on flirting with not knowing what we're doing.
But what's weird is like we know what we're doing, but
Yeah.
the technology is just being a jerk.
Yeah, that's
So-
a pretty fair assessment for sure. Yeah, so this is episode 19. We're really, really, really excited to have a guest. Just via video and audio. He had a video come out recently running a section of the Mississippi River. I would not 1%, not one iota would I say he was doing anything unsafe. It wasn't like some reckless deal, whatever. And he came across a log that you really, if you watch the video, you have to like go frame by frame. And even then it's hard to see. But he hit a log in his boat, pulled his motor completely off the back of the boat. I think it broke. What was it, Nate? It didn't hit the transom, right? Didn't it break the motor mounts?
Yeah. Looks like the motor mounts. He had some pictures that he posted on his Facebook and stuff about the situation and what happened. That did look like the motor mount snapped or something right there.
Yeah, just smooth through, which is just the amount of force and just hitting it just the right. I mean, even the geometry of it has to be just right for that to happen.
Gosh.
And all seriousness, thank God the dude is safe. And so we have Tweten, which is Lola thinks his last name is cute, is what she just said.
Yeah, but I tried to be like, nah, it's cool.
It's cool,
It's
bro.
cool, man.
Yeah, but it is.
But it's
Colin
cute.
Tweten is here, and we're not just going to talk about just that. We're not just going to have an episode of like Milliken thumbnail clickbait, like disaster on the water, episode 19. We're going to talk to him as a human being.
I mean, that's how I'm going to talk the whole time.
Well,
but
we're going to talk to him like a human being because he's a fisherman. He is a human being. He's a hunter. He shot an absolute freak giant drop tine buck. We're going to talk to him about that. We're going to talk about tacos, all
And
that good
family
stuff.
and all the things.
Yeah, just the whole thing. So like, we're excited and honored to have him on the show, but we're going to talk to him about everything. And so episode 19 should be pretty rad. Lola, will you do me a favor and show some of these beauties to the camera real quick? I'll mute you so you don't clonk you're muted. So you can get up without clonking your microphone. Whatever. So these are, we have...
Get her a little Vanna White on.
Yeah, she got a little Vanna White going. These are the Giltech swim jigs that we talk about on the show all the time. That you can definitely show. That's the marabou jig head. So it's a regular tube jig head with marabou fur sticking out of it, which if you're a smallmouth fisherman, that is just filthy. And then get a little closer. Can you get a little? Don't fall into the computer, but these are the Giltech. Yep, right there.
Ooh,
these are the Giltech swim jigs. That one, what's that one called, Bird? It says it on the back of the package, but it looks like that. It says bluegill, but it looks like that. What's that color, Nate? It's like Bama craw or something like that with that bluish greenish to it. It's just, if you hold it there, it gets focused in a sec. But we
like a magic craw color.
Magic craw, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you, Nate. But that one, I mean, good golly. So these swim jigs, again, not just to talk about them, they are just awesome. They look good. The hooks are stout. They swim straight. And we've been throwing these things. They've literally saved tournaments Nate and I have fished long before we were ever sponsored by Giltech. And the only place you can get these bad boys is hookandarrowsupply.com. Those are good moves. Yeah, those are. Yeah, she was looking at me. She just wanted credit for her dance moves as she was going back to her couch, which I understand. Unmute yourself. Aggressive.
Well, someone's got to do it.
Wow. hookandarrowsupply.com is the only place you can get them. And if you haven't looked at Hook and Arrow Supply, their website, they're getting ready to do a whole full-blown revamp of the site and whatever. But dude he's got a full-blown, he just hired his first employee at the shop besides himself.
That's so exciting.
And it's a full-blown like experience.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a full-blown experienced archery tech. And so one thing to know, if you're anywhere near that area, anywhere north of like Green Bay, Wisconsin, and you need a good archery tech, hookandarrowsupply.com. We're getting ready for that time of year, especially here in Wisconsin where we kick off season mid-September instead of like the beginning of October, a lot of other places. So definitely look them up. Snuggling with Lola on the couch tonight is our
Oh, I was like,
our
what did
red
you do?
25 quart Kenai cooler, which is just the absolute. That's getting weird. It's just the absolute jam. It's like big enough to get stuff in, small enough to throw in the back seat or in the back of the truck or whatever. Keep stuff cold forever.
And it's not hard for me to carry. Like if you don't know me as a person, I am 5 feet tall. Not super strong.
Yeah, you're pretty little.
I've had children, but my arm strength. Anyway, I can carry it, and it's not too bulky for me, like this size.
Hey, will you show them one thing that is really, like, legitimately? I work at Shields. I see 12 million, and I'm not talking bad about anybody. Yeti coolers are dope, and Arctic coolers are dope, and all these other coolers that make good, strong coolers. That's rad. But one thing Kenai does, even different than Grizzly, which is Kenai's parent company, of course, is those latches, you can undo them and do them with one hand. They have these little plastic tabs that go through the rubber thing when they close down, and you can do it one-handed. So you can, like, if you have something in your other hand, you can click and pop it open with one hand, which is really, really smart and really slick.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my favorite features of the cooler.
It's not like,
it's not the
not
really
super
hard rubber pull-down deal. Yeah.
which is great for like
they're
some stuff,
solid, but
like,
that's just,
this is
it works just
so
as
nice.
well, and you can just go like this.
Wow, one finger.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at
That
it.
was not fancy. That was real
I was
fancy.
trying to latch
Thank
it
you,
with one
Nate.
finger. Oh, I got it with one finger
Yeah,
latched.
thank you, Nate. I appreciate it. What else? Who else we got?
Working class.
Oh yeah, duh. Say something.
What? We love them.
Yeah.
Listen to them. They're great. And CC Hunt Files, Victory Drive, and check us out on Waypoint TV.
Waypoint TV, yeah. Point. Shout out.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, that's huge. Waypoint.
Shout out.
Yeah, Waypoint TV, dude. It's just a dope app. You can get on your smart TVs, you can get on your phone, you can listen to podcasts, you can watch videos. And when I say watch videos, I mean like there's tons. Like one of my growing up, one of my fishing heroes was Babe Winkleman. And
That's a cute name.
Yeah, he's like very old school fishing, old school hunting, like style of filming, whatever. Yeah, he just turned 300 last month, and he's still doing it. He's still hunting grizzlies and catching big pike. But like all of his shows are on there, and I'm not talking about like sections. Like the entire show is on Waypoint for free. Like why would you not download the app? It just makes sense. And then also shout out to our newest sponsor, Duke Cannon. Which is not our sponsor. It's not our sponsor, but I want it to be because like they're like body wash and cologne and deodorant.
And your chapstick that you're in love
and
with.
I have this giant chapstick that looks like a summer sausage. It's humongous.
Oh my gosh.
And I burnt the frick out of my lips.
You should have like specified that on the story.
We're not sponsored by Duke Cannon, but I want to be.
But I mean, you said, "Oh, Duke Cannon's so great," and then you're like, "I burned my lips," and it's like, "Oh wait, you should have had that." After, because you burned your lips before you got the chapstick. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
I used this and then I sunburned my lips. No, so like, yeah, I didn't use any chapstick, and I've done that before, and it sounds, I don't know if there's a more specific you're a white person thing than sunburning your lips. You know what I'm saying? Other than liking Neil Young, maybe. I don't know what could possibly make you any whiter than that. But I sunburnt my lips really bad at the 2-day derby, and then I'd been putting chapstick on it, and it just didn't do anything. Like, it did nothing. Yeah. And then I started using this Duke Cannon stuff, which it really is humongous.
It's really not like, I mean, it's
called like offensively large lip balm or something.
It's bigger than like a normal chapstick, but it's like,
it's been feeling
nice.
So much better.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's been feeling, anyway, so Duke Cannon,
Sponsor us,
please. That would be dope. I will be happy if you did that. Anywho, what do we have anything else? Are we missing anything else? We need to talk about anything else? Oh, Nate, the before and after, we're gonna finish recording with the LaFonts. Give people like a really brief rundown of what that was, like where we recorded it at, and all that, real quick, would you?
Yeah, so that'll be it did me wrong. Just got me out of there. Come on now.
Seriously, that was
there
so
you go.
rude.
I moved you over. There you are. Yeah.
So we just we had that 2-day derby up on Lac de Flambeau and the Dana Lakes up there, and the LaFont put us up in their little hotel that they let us stay in, and we recorded. It was the night before the derby. So after practice, the night before the derby, we recorded. Yep. And kind of did our pre-thoughts or what could happen, how things might go, all that good stuff. Then we fished day one, and recorded the after day one, and we just got to get the after day two set up, and I'm stoked for it. That was a fun derby. It really
was a fun derby. Yeah, it's definitely a different deal for us, for sure.
Much different, But the episodes before, maybe 2 episodes before this one's going to air, was the how to figure out a new lake or whatever, figuring out new waters. That we I would say we utilized tactics pretty well. So
we really did.
So we'll have to make sure we specify that in the upcoming video. So I'm stoked for that one.
Yeah, I really want to say some stuff about how the derby went, but I don't want to like let it out,
no
yet.
Teasers, man.
But like,
one thing we do know that happened.
Yeah.
Is you burnt your lips.
I burnt my lips.
He didn't have that Duke cannon, so
yeah.
Didn't have the Duke cannon, and he was.
I did.
He was giving me all kinds of mess. He was giving me all kinds of mess about keeping my chapstick in my pocket. You keep your chapstick in your pocket? Boy, you wish you would have had it now, huh?
You're
so uncomfortable. And here's a funny thing. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep on talking about Duke Cannon real quick, because one of my pet peeves with chapstick is you put it in your pocket and then it melts in your pocket because like you're walking around and the friction and the whatever. And I got them hot thighs.
Don't be so hot.
Yeah, I get them hot thighs, and so like my chapstick melts. So the Duke Cannon is specially I'm not kidding. It even says it on the tube. That it's specially formulated to not melt until it hits like 160 or something. So that I could put in my pocket without it.
But could
melting.
it fit in your pocket?
Yeah, if you like pull your pocket open with one hand and stuff it in with the other.
But you were putting it in the car, and you got all smart with me because I was like, no, don't leave it in the car because it'll get all melty. He's like, no, it won't because look at what it says. I was like, oh, formulated. I'm so sorry. Yeah. He loves
science.
it.
You're going to have to get like a Duke Cannon holster.
Oh, that'd be dope, dude. That sounds all type and not masculine, but I like it. Yeah, it sounds nerdy and not manly, which is kind of counterintuitive. Put your phone
clip next to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Your pager.
One thing I will say, and I don't think it's documented in our before and after podcast or in like the little we filmed some, not enough, but we'll put together like a little chopped up kind of recap video from the tournament as well, just shot with our phones. And one thing I don't think that was recorded or documented was that Nate and I, have you heard that old country song? I like to sing on every episode.
No.
Here it comes, Nate, prepare yourself. I don't even know who the song is by. I want to say like Tanya Tucker, but I don't think that's right.
Isn't it Tanya?
I think it is Tanya Tucker, but that's not who the song is. Tanya Tucker is, I could sing one of her songs too, but I won't. Anyway,
I love when you
there's
sing,
this one song, it's like, sleeping single in a double bed. Ooh, da 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 da. Sleeping single in a double bed. Me and Nate were sleeping double in a double bed.
I have picture proof. I was like, honey, please send
look that up. Will you look that up real quick? I gotta know who that song is by.
The song or the photo?
No, not the photo. Gross. But me and Nate doubled up in me and Nate doubled up in a full bed, and we're both grown men, and we're basically accidentally spooning the entire time because you couldn't move. Like, it was so little.
You didn't sleep back to back?
No, I think we did, but I think I was also like really nervous. I was gonna like bump into him at night and like try and hold him, thinking it was you. So I just stayed as far away as I could, which wasn't far.
He puts his arm slowly over.
Yeah. Well, Nate fell asleep instantly both days. Like, he'd lay down. I'm like, you want a podcast? And he's like, just asleep. So there wasn't really time.
He was up for like 48 hours.
Yeah, he was up for a long time.
Barbara Mandrell,
sleeping single in a double bed. Ooh.
Thinking over things I wish I said.
Thinking over things I wish I said.
I didn't want to sing it.
But me and Nate were sleeping double in a double bed. So it's kind of like a remix with a couple grown men in a hotel.
So cute.
Yeah, and then we set up, and then the funny thing was
it didn't get much wilder than that.
No, it definitely didn't. But then the funny thing was that hotel was dope. It was a motel, not a hotel. It was a motel. The Skylark. Shout out Skylark. Yep.
Sorry, I'm singing Pitbull now.
Oh, I was thinking of like the old school hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Say what? Like old school.
Isn't that? Oh wait.
That's like old school.
Nate, what is this? At the hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Doesn't Pitbull
he's ripping that from the old school song.
Well, I know the Pitbull version.
That's
I'm
sad
not as
for you.
old as you.
That's sad. Well, nobody
I'm
is.
Hispanic.
Chingy.
I was like saying it with a G.
Chingy is great.
Chingy is the worst. He could be worst rapper of all time.
No,
truly,
he's awesome.
Yeah, he could really. Him and Nelly should just be erased from the history of hip hop. But anyway, so we're in this teeny little motel room, and there's no room for anything. And we set up the podcast stuff at the end of the beds. I brought this coffee table just so we had something to put the microphones on.
I was wondering where it went.
And Nate was on a bed. Mark was on a separate bed. I was wedged into the corner by the microwave, and Eastone was wedged into the corner on the other side of the microwave, pretty much. And we're like, yeah, so we went out, we tried to find smallmouth and like 20 feet of water, and we couldn't move, and yeah, it was dope. But that'll be next week. It'll actually be the first ever before and after because it's a 2-day. Yeah. So it'll be fun. So, all right, man, let's bring in the dude. Yeah. Let's bring him in. I'm going to let him kind of decide. Do we want to jump into the boat stuff or just talk about life first? And then
Or tacos.
Like,
what are we starting with?
We can kind of go from there. So I do think a lot of people have probably seen this video. And I would even say, before we get him on, props to him for having, honestly, the balls and the integrity to share the video. Right? I think a lot of people might have been like, oh, I messed up. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to hide it. I'm going to hide away from it. And he was like, look, this is what happens sometimes.
And he wasn't being reckless.
He wasn't being irresponsible. It's just the kind of stuff that just happens sometimes. And after I showed the video to a few people, so many people are like, oh yeah, I know a guy who blah, 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 or I hit a stump. There's a guy on our Facebook who said he hit a stump on the miss, and it pulled the entire transom, like folded it down like a cardboard box, and they had to throttle up as high as they could, as hard as they could, with the motor being attached by just the cabling, just to push into shore so they didn't go down with the boat as it sank.
Okay.
So like, I mean, you know, you talk about these things, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, dude, this stuff happens.
Yeah.
And if you're experienced and you're smart and you're humble and you're, you know, you can get through it. And I'm so excited to have him here as a human being. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are so pumped and honored to bring in our new friend, Collin. Hey!
Hey-o!
There he is. What's up, Collin? What's up?
What's up, guys?
Hey.
Hey, man. How are you?
Well, I've had better stretch of days for sure in my life.
Yeah.
We're getting by. So
yeah, dude. Yeah. Collin Tweten.
Right?
Yeah.
All right.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. So you tell us, Collin, and again, thank you for being here. Thank you for agreeing. Huge props, and just so the whole world knows, Nate was the one who reached out to Collin, and they've been having conversation back and forth, and I appreciate the behind-the-scenes work. Nate, I don't know if people think that when you do a podcast, things just sort of magically line up, but they don't. You have to talk to people,
We're the
and
magical
you have
fairies.
to connect, and you have to be real to people and whatever. So thanks, Nate. But Collin, how do you want to attack this podcast? Do you want to talk about life, fishing, deer, tacos, family, or do you want to talk about the boat stuff first? You tell us.
Well, the first thing I want to say is that my whole life growing up, tacos have always been my favorite meal.
Oh,
hey,
my gosh. Oh, my heart.
We got the right dude on the show.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah, dude. Okay.
That's right.
All right, so let's jump into that then.
Tacos.
Yeah, what's the last good taco you had? And if you say Taco Bell, that's fine by me. Yep. I'm not offended. Their grilled cheese taco is really good and gross, but good.
I don't eat a lot of fast food, but I've had some Taco Bell, some Taco John's, that kind of stuff. But the last tacos that I had were fish tacos 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So,
okay, dude.
Very nice.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about them.
Wait, were they homemade? Were you at a restaurant?
Yeah.
What were the fixings on them?
They were homemade, and we just bought some from the store, cooked them in the either the oven or the air fryer, one or the other.
Okay.
Dope.
I basically just slapped it in a tortilla and made it just like I do a regular taco, you know?
Yeah, that's perfect. Did you just say slapped it?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, something like that.
So great.
Do you know who Pat is? Pat Schlapper. Do you know who that guy is? He's an elite angler.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. He's from like right down the road from us. So this is totally random, and I'm just thinking this out, so I'm just saying it. He's going to be on the podcast at some point here soon. He agreed to do it, and like I said, he is basically a local to us.
Yeah.
I looked at he finished. What did he finish in that derby, Nate? Up on the where are they at right now? They're on the St. Lawrence, are they?
No, they're on
Champlain.
Lake Champlain. The one they just
oh my gosh,
yeah,
I
that's
knew
right.
it.
Yeah, nice.
Yes.
I knew it was like a smallmouth derby, but I was looking at Pat. I think he finished 20th, and I'm like, dude, he keeps finishing well, but not like I mean, he's been on like the final day a couple times, whatever. I don't know if you knew this, Nate. I looked at his stats. He's fished 32 elite events so far in his elite career, and he's finished in the money 21 times.
Oh my god!
Or maybe 22 times. I'm like, holy crap, dude! That's like
that's super consistent. Yeah,
that's nonsense consistency, especially from a dude who lives like right down the street from us.
Crazy.
Like that's pretty wild. But yeah. So all right, so
okay,
Colin,
so what is your favorite taco?
Yeah, that's a good one.
If you could have anyone.
Well, we pretty much make all of our tacos homemade, but you know, as you know, I do a lot of deer hunting, and all of our hamburger meat is basically deer hamburger. So we make our tacos with deer hamburger, and you know, just kind of choose whatever toppings you want to put on it, I guess.
Are you a spicy guy?
Depending on that day. Oh yeah.
Okay, attaboy.
Yeah.
I like this dude. The more we talk to this guy, the more I like him for sure. Do you cut your deer grind with fat or pork or anything else, or what do you do with it?
Mix the hamburger with beef tallow, and we also made a batch last year with my in-laws, and we mixed some other stuff in with that. I wasn't a huge part of that. I was working on some other stuff, but we mixed some bacon in with it and some other seasonings.
Oh, baby!
How was that?
It turned out great.
Yeah, I bet it did. Yeah, it's bacon. Yeah.
So when you say we, does that mean that are you married? You said in-laws.
Yeah, he must be.
Yes. I just got married last September 17th.
Oh, almost a year.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great, dude.
The 1-year anniversary is coming up here real soon. So.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
What's her name?
Caitlin is my wife's name.
Hey, Caitlin.
Is it spelled with a C or a K?
Shout out. A K.
Okay.
I imagined it with a K.
I was seeing it as a C, and then I saw them being those people who name all their kids C names.
Oh.
You know?
Yep.
I'm glad.
No, that's not us.
No, I'm glad that's not going to happen, because I think that's so weird. But no judging, but it's weird.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, keep going. All right.
Anything else about tacos?
Yeah, so I mean, if you are topping a fish taco, what do you put on it? Because that's a curious one to me, because we just made shrimp tacos tonight, and we kept it so basic, like chopped up onion, chopped up cilantro. By the way, to anybody listening, if you've not seen it, that's another sponsor we should try and chase down. Is Kinders, whatever that seasoning is.
We have to figure out how to say it before we ask.
You gotta know how to say it first. Yeah, like A&W root buyer. I don't know. But anyway, you can get it at Walmart. They make seasonings that are crazy good, and they're like pre-mixed, and they're pretty affordable. Yeah. And then now they make sauces. And so on our shrimp tacos, grilled shrimp tacos that we had tonight, we used was it Chipotle lime?
Yeah.
Chipotle lime sauce, which was like perfect. Like it was a little bit salty. It had just the right amount of like kick. Chipotle peppery sort of like after bite. Dude, it's
like
really
tingle
good.
your lips a little bit,
yeah,
but
just
not too much.
But I mean, the stuff's cheap.
I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you with a little cheat code.
Right. Okay. Let's hear it.
Cook that shrimp in those Kinder's sweet chili oils.
Oh,
they make like a sweet and spicy chili oil. Like it comes in a little dish, and it's like a seasoned oil.
Okay,
that sounds stinking good.
Okay, Nate.
Wow.
Cheat code. Yeah, cheat code,
fancy.
Dude.
I'll be on that Kinder's too.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it Kinder's? Is that how you say it?
That's how I say it. I don't know if it's
when
right.
When you say kinder, it reminds me of hinder, and that's what my grandma would call a butt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, Colin, back to you. So, what do you put on your fish tacos, Colin? Hit us up. Give us the secrets.
Well, first of all, I think I need to come eat some tacos with you guys, because that sounds pretty good.
You are welcome. Literally
anytime.
I'm pretty simple with it. I put some shredded cheese on there, and then sour cream, and then I got like the generic taco sauce. I usually go for the hottest kind and put a bunch of that on there.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
You know, I'll put some lettuce on there every now and then, depending on the day. If I feel like I'm a plant eater.
Are you not a veggie guy? Okay. I thought that's where you're going.
Yeah. I kind of heard that in him too. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I definitely like to eat a lot of meat, so that's
same.
Big part of my diet. But
absolute carnivore. Yeah.
That's right.
Definitely. Okay, dope.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah. Okay, so let's let you mentioned it, so let's just use it as a segue. Yeah. Although it's not that smooth if I have to say the word segue, but not. I ruined it. But here's the segue. Tell us about the buck. Nate got a photo from you today and then sent it to us, and I'm at work, and again, I work at Shields, which a lot of the guys there hunt and fish and whatever, and so I was telling guys about the video of the boat, and then this photo comes through, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and like a couple of guys were like, what? And I was like, look at this. And like, holy Lord. Because you're like in this deer photo, you shot a giant drop tine buck, and you're like holding the freaking drop tine in the photo. Tell us a little bit about that buck.
I could probably talk all night about that deer, but
okay.
I'll have to send you guys some more pictures of him, some trail cam pictures that I had of him over the years.
Yeah.
And
so you've been hunting him a while.
Yeah, I had 4 years
of
stories and history with that deer. I found 4 of his sheds, the matching set from the year before I got him, and he had 1 drop tine that year. The year that I ended up getting him, he was actually a double drop tine, and
oh my gosh.
He had 1 on each side. But right before I got him, he ended up breaking the one off, the smaller one.
What
so, it was definitely not the greatest thing, but I'm not a huge believer in getting points fixed after they break off. But
I was going to ask you if you knew where it was.
Yeah, I couldn't find it or anything, but I had so many pictures of the deer, and I knew exactly what it looked like. So I did have my taxidermist kind of make a fake drop tine, and made it look exactly like it did before. So the mount now
nothing wrong with
like
that.
Yeah, I think if you shot a random buck and you saw there was a broken antler and had him add some freakish thing, that'd be sort of dirtbaggish. But for you who has history with that deer, that doesn't seem out of bounds to me at all.
Me either.
Yeah.
Exactly how I kind of look at it. And even if it was just, if he busted off like half of his G2 or something, I wouldn't get it fixed. But just the fact that it was another drop tine, and I feel like that deer, he was a special deer for sure, and it's not a rack that
drop tine.
Yeah,
exactly.
Seriously.
I mean, that's how I felt like he should have been displayed.
Yeah, I love that. I have goosebumps. Forever, I love that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, man. Did you get it measured? I'm just curious.
So that deer was actually not even close to being one of my biggest deer.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, he was definitely one of the oldest deer that I've killed, and like I said, I had all the history with him, and I got him with a bow. Yeah. So it was for sure my most favorite one, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to beat the story around it, but I've shot a lot of deer with my bow, a ton of them with a gun. That's how I kind of started, was shotgun hunting, youth hunting, doing that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. So tell us the brief story of that buck then, if there's so much story. You don't have to give us the whole shebang, but give us something.
Okay.
Yeah, come on.
I'll try to keep it short, but a lot of my family will testify.
There's no limit here, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm not great at keeping stories short about deer, but we'll give it a try. So I think it was 2018 or 2019. That was kind of the time frame when I started to keep track of all the deer that we had on the farm. And I had a few different properties I was hunting, but we kind of started to, keep these pictures and just put them on a hard drive. And he was just a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old at the time, nothing special, but he was big enough that I decided to keep some pictures of him. And then going into the following year, we had pictures of him again, and he was a little bit bigger, and we ended up going out that following spring, and we found one of his sheds from that season, and we found another one from the year before. So we found them both the same day, but they were a year apart. And then after that, the following fall, we had pictures of him again. And at first I didn't realize it was him, but he grew a drop tine on the one side. And
you're like, well, darn.
Yeah. No, I was excited about it, and he looked really good.
Yeah, of course.
I think he was probably about a 5-year-old at that point. And I was kind of obsessed with him. And then once he shed his velvet, I realized it was the same deer. And that's kind of when things clicked for me. And I used a little bit of the knowledge that I had of him from kind of what he did when he was younger. And I was able to really keep an eye on him with the cameras, but just never caught up to him when I was hunting. He was pretty difficult to get on when he was a 5-year-old, and never had any encounters with him in person at all. But that following spring, we found both of his sheds, and that got me really fired up, and I wanted to basically spend my whole life up until I got a shot at him, just obsessing over that one deer.
Yeah, and definitely.
Did you name him? Did he have a name?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, so we named him Crazy 8.
Okay,
cool.
And
that's a good one.
the whole video of it is on my YouTube channel.
Look that up.
Yeah, I didn't have the greatest cameras. Grind Season Outdoors is the name of my YouTube channel. So
nice.
If we just look for Grind Season Outdoors on YouTube, will we find you?
Oh yeah, yep. I posted 150, 160 videos on there over the years, and like I said, kind of starting out, I had an old GoPro, Hero 2 or whatever it was, and an iPad, and that's how I started, and I just kind of learned as I went and kept upgrading all my stuff, and so
that's awesome. Good for
you. Like I said, I had the pictures of this deer after we found his sheds, and he came back. We could tell it was him, clear as day. He had double drop tines, and just the trail camera videos and pictures that we had of him that summer were unbelievable, and it didn't help the obsession that I had over him. It just made it worse. So I found out exactly where he was spending the most time and had him on camera almost every day. I don't think he ever left the property, and I ended up finally getting a shot at him on November 12th in 2020. And when I was pulling my bow back, the cable glide flew off the bow. So the strings that are attached to that cable glide, they kind of moved over and were up against my arrow. And I didn't realize exactly what happened, but I took a second, the deer stopped, and I took a second and looked at the bow, and everything looked fine at first sight. So I got back on the deer and shot, and the arrow kind of, it didn't fly true, and it hit him in the back leg. He ended up surviving.
Yeah.
He got away, and it was like one of the worst days of my life for sure.
I can't imagine, dude. Seriously,
oh my gosh.
Holy cow.
Yep. So it just kept building the story, though, because a week later I ended up going back and hunted that same stand because I had another buck that was showing up, and first thing in the morning that deer came back out, and I ended up putting a pretty good shot on him and ended up getting him. So
wow, that is a crazy story.
Heck yeah.
How far a shot did you get on the second one?
The second shot was like 30 to 35 yards. He was out in the field, so there's nothing in the way, and he was perfectly broadside.
Wow. So did you figure out why that happened with your cable on that first pullback? And were you when you said that you looked at it and saw, were you at full draw trying to look?
I just pulled my head away to look at it, and I brought it in. So I go to Anthem Archery in Decorah. They're the ones that kind of hooked me up for everything bow hunting, and I've been shooting an expedition bow, and they make the expedition bows right in Decorah.
They're sharp.
And
Nate had one, didn't you, Nate?
Yeah, I shot one for a couple seasons. Biggest buck that I've shot actually got on the wall up here.
They're cool bows.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
I didn't know they were made in Decorah, though. That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I've absolutely loved it. It's the only really bad experience that I've had with it, and unfortunately, it just couldn't have happened at the worst time. But there were a couple other problems, I think, that other people had with the same deal when they were just target shooting and stuff. And I guess they kind of corrected that with their new bows and made it a little harder for that to happen. But I don't know if it happened on its own, or I had a kind of a little screw-on step that I was hanging my bow on there in the tree, and I don't know if I maybe caught it on that, So.
Are you still shooting expedition now?
Yeah, I still actually have been using that same bow, and I'll probably keep that bow forever just because of
what it is.
The sentimental value to it, and I just love the bow. But
yeah. So I have a couple specific questions, unless you guys have something you want to jump in with.
Go.
Okay, so number one. Have you seen the new, it is Expedition, I think, that makes the new magnesium bow, which is crazy as heck to me. Have you seen this thing?
Yeah, so it's like a different material than what anything else
completely
is. And
it's not aluminum, it's not carbon.
Yeah, they're super, super light bows. I haven't had a chance to shoot them just because I've been fishing nonstop, and I would like to upgrade and try one of them out and get one, but the problem is I I spend a lot of my money on fishing this time of year, and once
Right.
deer season rolls around, that's when I kind of think about that stuff. So
I know, and we know that story.
Yes, we do. Are you equal parts
exact
fishing
feeling, absolutely.
and hunting love, or is it, do you love one more
if
than
you could only
the
do
other?
one, if God came down and said, Colin, you've done great, but now you have to choose one, what would you pick?
I have this conversation a lot, and
Yeah.
I think it depends on what time of year you ask me, because when it's
Yeah.
the end of October and the beginning of
I was
November,
gonna say November 2nd, it's easier. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what a bass even looks like at that time of year, but
Right. Yeah.
no, I'd say it's pretty even. I've always just loved both of them, but
Yeah.
the biggest thing that I've kind of made a decision about is if I were to choose one to do for a job and one to do for a hobby, I would.
I like that.
I think I would choose to. I think I'd choose to be a fisherman for a job and to hunt for a hobby. And the biggest reason for that is, there's really awesome people in both industries, but
for sure.
I've been to the Deer Classic a few times, and I've met a lot of the Midwest whitetail guys, juries, like some of those people, and a lot of them are great. But it seems like in the hunting industry, it gets to be more of a competition, and people get a little bit more. There's like those alpha males where they try to just act like they're better than a lot of people.
The vibe is different.
Yeah, and it seems like it gets worse as you get more involved in the industry, and the people at the top are more that way in general. But in fishing, I feel like it's kind of the opposite. I've been a camera boat driver for the Elite Series tournaments and
right on. I didn't know. That's cool.
Major League Fishing tournaments and stuff. And being around those guys, it's such an awesome vibe. It's a sweet environment. I feel like I'm just hanging out with a bunch of guys that are just like me. And like for me, I think doing something like that for a living would be easy to do, and it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But on the hunting side, I think it would just get to be more stressful.
Okay.
I like that. Do it for a job and then have a hobby. That's a really great way.
Yeah, that was a good differentiator for sure. Okay, so going back to the deer, because this is my other specific question. When you had the foul up with the cable, a cable glide, and then you hit it in the leg, did it have both drops then, and then
whatever you said it was a week later?
I think he lost his one drop time somewhere near the end of October. So it was like a couple weeks before that first encounter I had with him. And I remember I was flipping through trail camera pictures, and I got the picture of him, and he had the big one still, but the little one was completely gone, and it was a little hard on me, but
right. Yeah, for sure. I thought that'd be even like harder.
Yeah,
like,
that's a shot to the heart.
Yeah, for sure. Two of them, you shoot him, and then one. Like, what the?
Yeah.
Like he shed it or something.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, right on.
I haven't got a deer officially scored for a long time. We've just done it on our own, and I feel like it's close enough, but
definitely.
That one ended up scoring in the mid 140s. He was like a 145, 146, and he only had 3 points on the one side, which is what really hurt his score. But like I said before, I've shot I think 3 deer or maybe 4 deer that have went over 160, and my biggest one was a 173 that was a 9-pointer.
So that's a big dog. Yeah.
He's a good boy. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a freaking giant for sure.
Yeah.
My dream deer, you said only 3 on one side. My dream deer is a giant 6-point. I think just because they're not common at all, like you don't really see them, and when you do, they're so weird. There's a rod and gun club near here, a little town called Osseo. Isn't it the Osseo one where we went to that outdoor thing with the kids? They got to shoot bows and learn about trapping and whatever.
Osseo,
and they have I'm talking about, I don't even know how big, but a giant 6-pointer. And I'm like, dude, that would be the coolest, most unique deer to shoot. Do you have a dream deer, Nate? Is there something in your brain that you've always wanted to shoot? Like, are you like I want to shoot a giant mainframe 10 or a non-typical guy? What about you, Lola? A freak buck? Like, what would you want to shoot?
I'd say my dream deer would probably be something like, so when I just got into bass fishing, I guess more seriously, I went and bought my Champion. And I went to the guy's house, and he's the most cool guy. I still talk to him to this day. He's an awesome dude. But he invites me into the house, and like we do the paperwork on his kitchen table and whatnot. and he's like, he's got some mounts and stuff, and he's like, you want more? I got some other stuff in the basement. So we go down to the basement, and one of the mounts that he had was it was like a gigantic like mainframe 8 on one side, and the other side was just this really small, like just junk that was just all over the place. I still have the picture on my phone today of it.
Okay.
It was so awesome. That is something that I would like to shoot. Just something real gnarly looking.
Yeah, almost to some people they call it like a cull buck because it was so unbalanced or something. But yeah. What about you, Lola?
It was big.
I don't think that I have a dream one. I just want to shoot another one.
Okay. So if it's got antlers, watch
maybe
out.
One like this.
Yeah, maybe one like that old school. Yeah, for people who don't know us very well, Lola and I both are big junkies with like retro, vintagey, almost kind of silly looking.
Yeah. I have a walleye T-shirt on.
Yeah, and that walleye shirt that's like really. It kind of looks like a steroided up perch. This walleye that's on her shirt. I don't know if you guys can see it. It doesn't really look very walleye-ish, but it's also really awesome. And then like my new thing at Derbies is I'll wear like a regular fishing jersey, like a Columbia or a Sims or a True Timber jersey or something, and then I'll put like a really old school like 1990 largemouth printed goofy looking shirt over the top. I don't know why.
So anyway, I don't know what.
So maybe something like that. That's just a really nice mainframe 8 with like a crab claw on one side.
There it is.
Yeah. So
I'd take that.
Yeah. His brow on his left side is really strange looking.
Well, that's what I want.
All right, strange. Lola wants a strange looking brow deer. That's fine if that's what you want. Okay, so
anyway,
yeah. So Colin, let's ask you this, man. Where are you trying to go with fishing derbies? What circuits are you on? What kind of tournaments are you fishing? Do you fish? Do you want to fish opens? Is the goal to be on the elites, or do you like MLF better? Like, where are you trying to go with all this?
I would say my end goal would be to fish on the Elite Series. I've always just felt like the bass side has been the one from the start. That they have a lot of tradition and just so many cool things about it that I'd love to be a part of. And I don't know if it'd ever be possible, but if I could find a way to put my name somewhere in the history books on the Elite Series, that'd be pretty sweet. But right now I'm kind of just fishing whatever I can. I don't have like parents that are funding me or companies that are paying me to go do all this. So it's basically just me working as much as I can in the wintertime when all the water's frozen, and then going and blowing all that money in the spring all the way to the fall. So I've been fishing the Bass Nation tournaments throughout the year. They have a state tournament that you can, the way that it has been working, you can qualify to go fish the regionals. And I fished it 2 years now and made the state team both years and fished the regional, and I did terrible in both of them. Yeah, it hasn't been great fishing the regionals, but the state tournaments I've done really well in. And now they're kind of changing things. So I feel like it might make it a little easier to make it to the national championship the way that it's set up now, but the field is going to be about 5 times bigger by the way it sounds. So it's going to make it way harder.
50 boat field, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's going to make it a lot harder for a guy like me to make it all the way there and then actually, keep moving on, make it to the classic, to the Elite Series.
Yeah, if you did though, versus 250 boats, you got to be feeling pretty dang confident.
Seriously,
that's what, twice the size of the elite field. That's crazy.
Yep. The bad thing about that though, me being from Iowa and fishing the river pretty much religiously, I'd be probably fishing somewhere down south, and I'm sure with the new format, there's going to be a lot of guys from down there that are going to try to sneak into it one way or another, and that's who I'm going to be competing against. So I'd have to really get lucky and have a few really good days of fishing,
but it could happen.
It could absolutely happen.
That's definitely possible.
Yeah, completely possible.
Does your wife like to fish? Oh, sorry, Nate. We just went right over each other.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna say, you're putting yourself in the right position. Fishing as many derbies as you can, just gaining that experience. That's that's what it takes. The more you fish, the more experience you can gain, and the more confidence you'll have in those later tournaments. So
yeah, I feel like I've done it kind of the right way. I've gotten ahead of myself a little bit, but I've always tried to see things from a bird's eye view and just try to look back at my season every year and try to figure out what I should do going forward. And I feel like, I've been fishing tournaments since I was a freshman in high school, and I have, I think 12 seasons now under my belt. And I've started off just fishing every local tournament that I could get into. And now I've cut back on fishing as many tournaments. I try to fish a little bit bigger ones like the BFLs and the Bass Nation stuff. And the other nice thing with that is I don't have a partner that I really, rely on every single time that I fish these tournaments. So just signing up as a boater and having a random draw for a co-angler works really well for me. So that's kind of what I've been doing this year anyway.
You have any good weird co-angler stories?
I don't want to throw anyone under the bus by any means.
Well, you don't have to say any names, but I mean, do you have anybody who you're like, what? Who is this dude in my boat for the next 9 hours? What the heck?
No, so I've really never had a bad experience with the co-angler. I've enjoyed fishing with every one of them. I did have one guy that was quite the character this year fishing the BFLs. That's all I'll say about that. But it was
fair enough.
Yeah,
it was an interesting day for sure. And then nothing weird or crazy happened, but I had an older gentleman fish with me the first year that I fished state, and he was the first co-angler that wasn't one of my buddies that fished with me, and we just had a fun day and full of laughs.
Oh, cool.
He ended up zeroing the two other days of the tournament, but he caught an 8 or 9 pound limit with his 3 fish when he was fishing with me. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, awesome. So what is are you in Decorah then? Is that where you live, Decorah, Iowa?
I live north of Decorah. Right now I'm actually at my mom's house in Minnesota.
Oh.
But
hey, Mom.
Oh, you're in Minnesota right now?
We're in Minnesota.
You should come over here, dude.
Yeah, what the heck?
Heck yeah. Yep. Shout out to my mom for she provides me some good Wi-Fi to upload all my videos.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Where in Minnesota are you?
I'm in Spring Grove, Minnesota, southeast Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I know where that is because like Jake and Joe DeVolder, they have a sister who lives somewhere near there or did.
She lived in Winona.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Winona's not.
No,
it's like north. It is east, but it's north.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Right
I want to know, does your wife like to fish?
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys go out on the boat together or?
Yeah. So she does like to fish and she goes with me every now and then.
Okay.
The problem is I live about an hour away from the river, and instead of trying to squeeze in a few hours every day, like after work or, stuff that a lot of guys do like that live on the river, I usually
river rats.
Yeah, I work longer days during the week because it doesn't make sense to go all the way there after work for 3 or 4 hours. And on the weekends, whether it's a Friday, if I work a bunch of hours and get Friday off, or Saturday, Sunday, usually I try to make it worth it. And I spend a lot of days on the water where I'm out there for 15 or 16 hours. And the wife does not like to do that, but
long day.
Yeah. And me and Nate are like, yep, let's go.
Yeah, you're both like nodding. I'm like, I could do about half of that, like a tournament day, but
I mean, the thing is about the river, it's funny, a quick little I don't know, moment of vulnerability.
Aww.
When we moved here from that Sprecker's root beer. That would be another awesome sponsor.
Ooh,
we're just like selling ourselves out right now. Sprecker's, Taco John's, Duke Cannon, holler at us.
Holla.
But when we lived in the Quad Cities, we lived on the river. I remember saying, I probably even said it to you as well, Nate. Like, oh, dude, fishing the river's cool, but I'm excited when I'm in Wisconsin to get back into lake fishing.
Yeah.
And now I really miss the river.
Oh, honey.
It's just the river is sort of maybe not fully, but like Colin, I assume you'd probably agree with this. The river's kind of limitless. Like there are so many, like regardless of the pool or area, there's always spots that you didn't go to that you maybe thought were too shallow, or your map said was this, but in actuality it's something else, or where it looked like it was shallow, but it's really just a sand drop that rolls into a deeper pool.
The river is not that far from us, though.
No, it's not. But I just mean, like, when we lived in Port Byron, we could throw a rock from our backyard into the river, almost literally.
Yeah.
And now it's a little bit farther, but like the river's awesome. Is it not, Colin? Does it feel almost like inexhaustible to you?
The Mississippi River and mainly Pool 9 is like my favorite place on earth for sure. And it's funny that you say that, because I fished a lot of lakes, and I grew up fishing smaller ponds up around Decorah and some little lakes and stuff. And you go to those places, and after 2 or 3 hours, it's like you kind of had enough of it. You go and you catch 40 or 50 bass, and you're like, all right, it's time to go. I've made a lap around the whole thing. But when you go to the river, you'll just be fishing, and you kind of get lost in the fishing, and you look down at the time, and the day's halfway over already, and you're like, man, I want to keep going for another 10 hours or whatever. Like it just it seems like it's never enough. So that's what I focus on most of the time now, but I still try to keep getting out and fishing other places too, just so if I have to go fish somewhere else for a tournament that I qualify for, I know a little bit about how to catch them.
Yeah, Nate and I were just having that conversation recently. The idea of like, is a person who's making the transition from like club derby to like the opens, are they good for that area, or are they just good? Like they can figure it out on Southern Lakes or TVA Lakes or Lake Fork or in the East or the Delta or wherever, So like, I think it's definitely good to try and be diverse, but gosh, the river is just, it really truly does feel inexhaustible. You could fish one pool every day for a week and really never hit the same spot twice, or ride by something 5 times, then finally be like, you know what, I'm going to set it down over there and try and fish it. And it turns out to just be perfect. It's just, I don't know.
And I'm just freaked out by the river because you freaked me out about it.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
Like, logs might be rolling down at us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was just trying to tell you, like, you got to be heads up. Like, so this is years ago. I said that, like, you got to be so anal and heads up and careful. And I'm
just imagining these huge logs rolling
like
towards
us. Like a logging outfit.
That's how I imagined it, honestly. So now anytime we had gone on the river, I was like, the logs.
Yeah. Sure.
I've been trying to get Jordan on that. Just that I've been trying to get you on that Pool 9 area for a while now. That's like he said, it might be the best place on earth. That Pool 9 area is so dope.
I've never been there.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
Man, you never been at Pool 9 before?
No, I've never been on it.
Who are you?
I know, it's stupid.
Wow.
Well, I'll have to take you out sometime. You'll have to take me out.
The real question is, do you even fish if you haven't been on Pool 9?
Right.
I could show you my boat and all my tackle. That doesn't prove anything. Like I could flip the camera around.
Not if you haven't a pool. No.
Yeah, dang it. And Pool 9, where do you usually launch from? What town is it you launch out of, Nate, on 9?
It's probably the same pool that ramp that Colin uses. It's that Lansing, Iowa ramp.
Lansing. That's right. Lansing, yeah.
Pretty centrally located on the pool, and the city of Lansing or whoever it is, they've done an amazing job like revamping it, and it's
cool.
It's a really
shout out
nice
Lansing, Iowa.
To use now. For real.
Do it.
I didn't want to do it when he was talking. Bwah, bwah, bwah.
There it is, Lansing, Iowa.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, I saw Colin the last there, this pro only tournament. So I think I said.
Oh, that's right.
He didn't know who I was, so that's all good. Yeah,
so
just
Colin,
to kind of.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to touch on that, I think there's a lot of people that have started to watch my videos locally for sure.
Oh,
and
cool.
That's been kind of weird for me because I just feel like I'm a normal dude and I just make some videos when I go fishing and hunting and stuff. And it seems like every time I go to these tournaments and go down to the river and see people at the ramp, they always recognize me and tell me they watch my videos, and I don't really know what to say because it's just still kind of new to me. And
Thank you.
I think it's really cool though. It's definitely
it's humbling, right?
Yeah, it's pretty neat just to think about all the people that, they're maybe just getting into it and they're learning a lot from what I'm posting. And
I just enjoy to. The only reason I started doing it is because I enjoy to make a video and be able to go back and watch it myself, and maybe have something that my family will be able to watch like long after I'm gone. And after kind of doing it for a while, I've started to see a lot more benefits to it. Like I talked about, just meeting new people at the boat ramp or at these tournaments and stuff, and then meeting guys like you. And I've just had endless opportunities because of making videos and just being a little bit more engaged in social media than what most people are. So
sure.
So my question for you, how did you get into fishing? You said you started tournament fishing freshman year, right? So how old were you? How did you get into it?
Take it back to like the genesis of Collins fishing, like the beginning.
My dad and my grandpa, they've owned a boat dealership together basically since I was born. And my grandpa just passed away earlier this year. So that was kind of a tough deal on the family, but him and my dad are definitely a big reason that I kind of got into fishing and boating and doing all that stuff.
Cool.
I kind of just grew up around it, but none of them ever bass fished. They really weren't even that great at fishing. It's kind of hard.
We won't tell them you said that. Don't worry.
I mean, the thing is with them is when it's fishing season, that's when they're the busiest at the dealership. So they're fixing stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And doing all that. So they never really had the chance to get into fishing like I did. But as soon as I got a whiff of it, I don't even really remember how young I was, but I was addicted to it. And I'd make my mom go and drop me off at a pond and let me go fishing. And
That's like
would never want to leave, so that's kind of how it all started. I'm sure like it does for a lot of kids that just become obsessed with it. And I never really looked at it as like being a possibility for me to fish professionally or to actually have a career in it. I just wanted to go fish the trout streams and do all that kind of stuff as much as I possibly could. And it wasn't until, after high school really that I started to realize that maybe I have a shot at making it professionally. It's good. I still have a long ways to go, and it takes a lot of luck. A lot of things have to line up, but
was there a bass club at your high school?
No, there wasn't. My buddy and I kind of just created one to be able to fish the state tournaments, and no one knew.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no one really knew anything about it, and that was back when the Iowa State tournament only had 10 or 11 boats max at the state tournament, so it was still really new. No one really knew of high school fishing, and we just had to meet some new people and find someone that would be our boat captain. So we had a couple different guys that would do that for us. And we did that in high school, and I kind of got a little bit of a big head on me. Like I said before, I've gotten ahead of myself from time to time. And when I was in high school, I was the only kid in my high school that was doing these fishing tournaments. So I thought I was like Kevin Van Dam, just.
Yeah, of course.
You were.
Colin Van Dam.
That's right. But I quickly learned after fishing a couple years as a co-angler, got my own boat when I was the end of my sophomore year, and I started fishing some tournaments on my own, and I could barely weigh in a fish. So I definitely was humbled and had to kind of go back to the drawing boards and actually focus on getting better at fishing. So
that's cool. I mean, it's not cool that you got humbled, but it's cool to learn that life lesson.
Yeah. It definitely takes time. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize if they're getting into this when they're my age. I'm 25 right now. And that's when a lot of people really start to get into fishing, is once they're starting to grow up a little bit. They maybe just bought their first boat, and they start to fish some of these tournaments, and it can be really demoralizing. I've been doing it for a long time, and I've only cashed one check this whole year. So you just really got to learn to take your L's and bounce back and try to just do better at the next one.
Yeah.
So
we've been I know we've both been at it a long time. Myself, strictly at it quite a few years, and just got the first W this year with Jordan, this spring. So it takes a long time. I think I started in like 2012 or 11, maybe something like tournament fishing. I mean, so like you said, it's a big deal when you go out and you fun fish and you catch them all, and then you get in a tournament and you can't bring anything some a wet boat back to the weigh-in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually right there with you guys. I started fishing tournaments. I think it was like 2000, 2012, 2011, somewhere in there. It was a while ago, but I've finished second place a ton of times, and I finally got my first win on May 28th on my birthday this year.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's awesome. It was a special one. I don't know if any of you guys have watched the video on my channel, but it was actually the weekend after my grandpa went up into the hospital, and he ended up having some major strokes is what happened, and he was in the hospital for over a week before they finally took him off of life support. So I actually came back home on Saturday and just went out on the water for a couple hours to clear my head. Ended up finding some stuff that I really thought I could win a tournament if I got in one. So I got in this club tournament and called my buddy up, and he came and joined me the next day, and we caught 17.5 pounds and ended up getting the win. So
that's awesome. So good for you, man. Wow. That's a cool story. Yeah, your grandpa put you on a school or something.
Yeah, I feel like all my best stories, whether it's hunting or fishing, it's like everything just lines up perfectly and it happens like it's meant to be. So
well, I think it is. Ike always says that. He always says when you're supposed to win, there's nothing that can stop it. Like you can't even stop it. Like you can't get out of your way. Think about Jordan Lee when he won the Classic. I don't remember if it was the first or the second time when his outboard went out and he ended up fishing like half a mile from the boat ramp because he had to, and he found fish that he would have never found otherwise. Nate and I winning that derby this year, it was sheer desperation, fishing spots we would never normally fish, but it was going so slow we went and did something we weren't really gonna. You went out on the water to clear your head, which is a great way of kind of breathing, and then you find a school or whatever you found that you were able to figure some stuff. When you're supposed to win, you win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I can dive into that a little bit deeper. What I ended up finding when I went out there was some flooded willows out on an island, and there was giant shad that were pushed up in those willows. And I didn't have any hooks on, but I flipped up and had probably a 6-pounder kind of roll out of the water, and I went around the corner and had another one that was probably over 4 pounds. And
wow,
I knew that with another guy fishing with me, if we went up there and just flipped that stuff all day long, we'd be able to get 5 good fish, because every fish that I came across was a big one. And during the tournament, I think, we fished our tails off, and I think we only caught 7 keepers all day, 7 or 8 keepers maybe. And they were just the right ones. We caught a few of them that were all around that 4-pound mark. So
that's great.
Good for you, man. Congratulations. Truly.
Well, should we get into the
that's an awesome story?
Yeah. Are you ready to transition into the carnage, Colin?
Yeah, so we can go from a really good day on the water and talk about one of the bad ones.
Let's go right down the dumper.
So let me ask you this, if you would set us up kind of what tournament was it? A tournament you were in? You were, right? That was a derby, yeah.
I was fishing the 4th BFL in the Great Lakes division for the season.
Okay, so walk us through the tournament.
Oh, that's right. I was gonna say I know that pool. I can see it in the background.
Far from us.
Yeah, I knew that water.
It's like 2.5 hours.
Walk us through just kind of what the tournament was, how your day was going. We read your post, why you went through that cut. However you want to take it, man.
Yeah, so like you said, when things are going your way, you really can't stop it. And when things aren't going your way, you really can't stop it either. And that's kind of what had happened to me. In practice, I've been fishing some areas that I've been fishing all summer, and there's been fish on them every time I've gone there. Just fishing a lot of points in the sloughs and just different areas with sand flats and sand drops and doing a lot of that. So I was catching a ton of fish, just not a lot of big ones, but we had seen some big ones in the area, knew they were around. So I ran up there first thing in the morning to an area on pool 9 that I figured we could just sit there all day and at least catch 11, 12 pound limits and hopefully catch some big fish. But if nothing else, just get a solid limit of fish and get good points going into the last tournament. Well, we got up to the first area. There's a few more boats in there than what I would have liked, and the fish completely shut down. We caught a few small ones, and I missed a big one on a frog, and it was just kind of all falling apart those first couple hours. And I'm like, man, I want to sit here and keep trying to figure this stuff out, but I just felt like I needed to make a move. I have a ton of experience on Pool 9, so I wanted to just go almost pre-fishing again and just try to find something and fish the conditions. So we ran up to another area north of Lansing, and we got into there. I missed another giant on a frog, probably over 4 pounds. Came all the way out of the water and just showed itself to me. And
what a jerk. Just gave you the middle finger.
Exactly.
All right, so brutal.
Yep. Yeah, so I missed that fish, and then we found a little wad of them, but they were all too short. And while we were catching a few of those, I set the hook on one and broke my rod.
Oh my gosh.
So at this point, I still have 0 keepers. And along the way, I forgot to mention this, but my co-angler ended up catching 2 keepers in the middle of all this. So
that's good, but also salting the wounds a little.
Exactly. I still didn't have a fish in the boat. He had 2. I was missing big ones. It was broke the rod, ended up hooking myself in the sweatshirt. So I'm kind of starting to,
I would just be crying.
Yeah, I'm starting to spin out pretty bad, and I try to stay calm and just not let it get to me, because I always feel like on Pool 9, even up on Pool 8 and down on Pool 10, I always feel like I have a chance to make something happen in a short amount of time. But it was really getting to me, because it seemed like everything that could go wrong was going wrong, and it just kept getting worse from there. We ended up pulling up. I think it was 10 o'clock or so in the morning, and I was going to run to a different area that I figured we could at least catch our limit of fish out of. And I started running to it, and I'm basically coming out of this big lake. It's called Big Lake, and we're running out. And in my head, I was thinking, I could run all the way out by the Lansing Marina, and I could get on the main channel and just take that and kind of go back up to the north. But there's another channel that kind of cuts some time off. It's a little bit shorter of a drive, and I just I figured I'd go through there. I've went through there hundreds of times in my life. It's right by Lansing, right off the main channel. Boats go through it all the time. Like I said, I've gone through there a bunch of times. I just went through it last Sunday when I was out fishing, and a lot of times I try to make mental notes when I'm running through these areas and I see a log, and I'll even mark them on my graph and just do everything I can so that I don't do what ended up happening. But I come around the corner, and the wind was kind of blowing into that little channel there. And it wasn't too bad, but it was just enough that I couldn't see a log that was sticking up. And I think this log was actually down in the ground a little bit. And it was coming up like through the water column, and it was right in the middle of the deepest part of the channel there. And it was, the end of it was just sticking up, right on the surface, to where basically when the waves would hit it, I think they were covering it up.
Yeah, it was kind of making it disappear.
I mean, I never even seen it. I'm running, I come around the corner and start picking up speed. I was probably going around 60 miles an hour, I would say. And out of nowhere, it's just a big bang. It really, I don't remember a whole lot of it. It kind of just happened so fast, and by the time I realized
what happened, shock.
Yeah, the boat was already came to a stop. But I remember, I hit the log, and I instantly knew like I hit something. And the first thing that I thought about was, man, I just got this brand new prop for this boat that works perfect on there, and I probably just messed it up. And I kind of tried steering away from the bank, and the boat.
Oh, you tried steering after you hit it?
Yeah, I tried steering it because it was turning towards the bank, and I was
back there.
Yeah, I was still going pretty quick. Luckily, we got thrown around a little bit, but we didn't get thrown out of the boat. but when the boat spun around, it just kind of stopped right there. So we didn't go into the bank. We didn't kind of go anywhere after that. But I turned around.
People that haven't like seen the video, what you turn around and what did you see?
Yeah, I turned around expecting to, maybe raise the motor up and see no lower unit on the motor, and the motor is completely gone when I turn around.
My gosh, it's gone.
There's just there's just cables and wires and stuff just hanging out the back of the boat. So I instantly knew that that was going to end my day of fishing, and
what did you do? Like, what were you
what did you say to your co-angler? Was there a conversation immediately? On the video, you seem really calm, but I think that's probably like a combination of not knowing what was going on / shock /
Well, like I said, I didn't realize how bad it was. I didn't realize the whole motor was gone. When I think in the video right away, you just hear me say "not good" right after I hit it, and
not good.
I think that was mainly just me like thinking that I probably knocked the lower unit off
or broke your skeg or something.
Yeah, and right when I said that, I turned around and saw there's no motor, and I think I kind of took it out of the video, but there was a few other words in there that people didn't need to hear. But for the most part, I definitely just stayed calm through it, and we didn't get hurt at all, which really helped. I think if one of us would have gotten injured, it would have been a little bit tougher of a situation. But like we had talked about earlier, I've had working around power lines, being in the military for 6 years, doing some of that kind of stuff. I feel like I've been in a lot of high stress situations to where my emotions always are pretty level, and I try not to get too high or too low. And as soon as it happened, it just kind of kicked me into that mindset that I've had to be in for a lot of the situations that I've been in. And the first thing that I thought was like, okay, I need to make some calls. And there was another boat that made their way over to us. They made sure that we were good. And I just tried to figure out how, my co-angler was going to get back, taking our fish back, doing that kind of stuff. And then we got all that squared away with them. And I called my dad first and just told him and let him know what happened. And after that, I got on the phone and called my insurance company to make sure that I could make them aware as soon as possible and get that.
The sooner the better for sure.
Yeah, I got that out of the way. And then I called the Elmeke Sheriff's Department, because another thing that I thought about was the fact that this motor was down in the water, and it was still there. It wasn't attached to the boat anymore. And I know if you sink a boat and you don't pull it out right away, there's fines that they could give you, and they would
can I just
want to get that out of the water.
You were thinking so clearly that
Seriously.
You were able to call insurance and the sheriff. What?
Yeah.
You're awesome. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, this dude's brain is next level.
Yeah. Just like
I really didn't know what else to think about, because I couldn't really go anywhere. I just had the trolling motor. So I'm just kind of sitting there thinking, what else do I need to do to try to make this situation better? And like I said, I called the sheriff's department, and they got me in contact with the Iowa DNR. And I don't want to get into a whole lot of details about like where the motor is and all that kind of stuff, but I talked all that over with the DNR, got that figured out, and I had a few other conversations with some people, but I wanted to make sure I got all that out of the way before I said anything on social media about it. And I guess after that, I was mainly just focused on getting the boat out of the water. So my co-angler got picked up by those guys that came and met up with us, and they took him back with our fish, and he took all of his stuff back. My wife.
Did you have a limit?
No, I only had one fish. One fish that I ended up catching. So
he had two.
And he had two,
Yeah, the co-angler had two. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned that I did catch one, but I
caught like a two.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I caught like a 2.5 pounder right before we left. Right before we left that area. But yeah, so we pulled the boat up on the bank as far as we could, and I don't have any power poles or talons or anything like that. So we just made sure that it was going to stay there, and I locked everything up. got a ride back down to my truck in Prairie du Chien and drove back up, and we pulled it up on the trailer. And, that was definitely probably one of the toughest parts, because when we're trying to load this thing up, you got other people at the ramp that are putting in and coming out, and they're all just kind of looking at you funny, like,
well, yeah,
something doesn't seem right. And we had a couple people that they weren't very experienced boaters, and they were, they're just giving me the, how's the fishing going today, and that kind of thing. And I'm just like, man.
Oh my gosh.
We're like,
not the time for this.
Somebody else. Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, we got it loaded back up on the trailer. That went pretty smooth, and I brought it straight to my dad's dealership and got it parked there. So, we got all that stuff underway, and then that's when I got back home, and I pulled out the GoPro, and I just wanted to see like what I got on the GoPro, and I pulled it out and saw the video, and I'm just like, man, that's crazy. And I thought about it for a little bit, and then I decided that it's maybe something that I should share with people, because I at first I didn't want to, because I didn't want to show everyone how I messed up, but then the more that I watched
such a vulnerable moment.
I mean, I was really putting myself out there for failure, because I could just hear the people commenting on it and saying that I was being reckless, or I was running too fast. You know how all the people talk about bass fishing,
the internet experts
running around down the river. So that's kind of what I was worried about. But no, overall, it's actually been the opposite of that. I shared it, and the video kind of went a lot crazier than what I thought it would. I think Wired to Fish shared an article about it, and I've had I think over 1,000 people have shared the original post.
That's
so it has like 200,000 views on Facebook right now.
Wow.
It had like 20 yesterday, like 20,000. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I think it's sad. I understand that this stuff doesn't get caught on video all the time, but I really think it is kind of sad that me hitting a log with my boat gets way more attention than Dan Mon, the guy that won the tournament. So it's just kind of it kind of sucks how that works. It's like, you accomplish things that are crazy. Winning a BFL is something that a lot of people will never accomplish, and unfortunately, people just don't care about that kind of stuff. They care about the guy that just hit a log run down the river.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I ask you details? Is this acceptable? Or you?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so you hit the thing. I completely understand what you were thinking. Like, oh no, my prop or my lower unit or whatever. Like, especially if you've run that area many times, it makes sense that you would try and trim up, or you'd try and steer or whatever. I totally get it. Once you realize that your motor was like gone, and your co-angler, what time of day was this? When did this happen? Like 10, 11?
It was like 10:30. I think.
I was just trying to put that time together in my head, from where you went, how long you fished, whatever, running. What was the conversation like? I mean, did you guys say anything to each other? Was the boat taking on water?
The boat itself has a little bit of damage. I think the motor hit it somehow when it came off, and there's some fiberglass chunks that, they're kind of gouged out of the back of the boat there. But I think it's all
on the transom, or?
Yeah, it's kind of like off to the side, and there's a little bit underneath and stuff, but nothing's too deep. It didn't go all the way through. I think it can all be fixed.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, the motor ended up, it was like the motor mount that ended up breaking, where it's mounted on the jack plate. That's what it looked like in the photos.
Holy crap, that's crazy. How do you break through something like that?
Man, I don't know. I mean, like my dad told me that he's never seen anything like that out of all the years that he's been working at the dealership, and people have come in.
Could have like the log,
the geometry, the way it had to be just
into it, and then
I'm over here. Look, we run Lola and I run a 2019 Evinrude E-Tech G2, a 250 HO, and I'm over here looking at the motor mounts on it right now, and the thought of that breaking doesn't even seem possible.
I know, like if the log wedged perfectly up into it and then just went as you're going, maybe. I don't know.
So did you guys say anything to each other? Did you have a conversation after, like, as soon as it happened? Or what did that look like?
Well, in the video too, I have a little bit of that. It was basically just me right away asking him if he's all right. I mean, I knew that neither one of us were hurt bad because we kind of just got shook around when the boat made that turn, and we both stayed in the seats. So obviously the motor didn't come up and hit us, thankfully. But I just made sure he was good, and then he was a super great dude. I mean, I wish we could have got on him and just had a good tournament, because that dude was probably one of the best co-anglers I've ever had, for sure.
Wow.
And at first he was just like, man, it's all right, the motor's replaceable, just trying to make me feel a little bit better about the situation. And then he called the tournament director and told him what happened, and he was kind of taking care of some of that while I was calling the insurance company and doing all that. So he was super helpful.
Cool. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I was definitely lucky to have him in the boat with me for the day, and then have the other guys that were fishing there come and help us out too. So
yeah, wow. Motor, jack plate, boat, walk us through it. On the video, you can see anybody who is a legend dork like Lola and I, you can see that it's a legend. It's an Alpha series just by the shape of the deck and stuff. And what's crazy is I've watched this video probably not as many times as you have, Colin, but I've watched it like 35 times maybe. Just like Lola saw the log.
Well, I slowed it frame by frame, and then you can just see it.
I mean, you can just see it. She kind of sent me a picture. I'm like, oh yeah, there it is, because I was trying to see it too. But you can see when you first go over it, your Mega 360. You can see like that don't like just bounce down like a tip up or something. Ice fishing, and the fact that it went, just from the bow of the boat to the back of the boat, just lightning. Oh my gosh! Tell us about your boat. Tell us about the motor and what happened, or what were you running? I mean.
Yeah, so I noticed what you were talking about, how the front end, it almost seemed like it started to lift, like the camera angle changed a little bit,
Yeah.
And so I have just a manual jack plate on the back of the boat, and then I had a brand new Mercury 225. It was literally brand new. I put it on not even 2 months ago, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that was a tough pill to swallow. I got rid of my...
so hard to come.
It took me,
I think,
golly,
like 10
especially the
220.
Yeah, especially that size. The 225 is just so hard to come by.
Almost a year to. Oh my god.
Yeah, you can't find them. You can't find any of the 4-stroke stuff like the Merc 4, but not the 225. That thing's a daggum unicorn.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah, it took a long time for that thing to show up, and it's been a great motor so far. So, but yeah, I had that thing on the back there, and I think the whole boat just kind of went right over the top of that log, and there was almost zero damage on the bottom of the boat. So
wow,
that log
shout
was
out
just,
legend, dude.
Yeah, those legend boats are the real deal. It's sad that they're not making them anymore, because I'd be running them till the day I die for sure.
Yeah, we love our boat. Ours is the B20, so it's just like the fatter cousin of the Alpha series, but they're awesome boats. It's a battleship for sure. And then the color too. How did you find that boat? 'Cause is it like black, like gray and purple? Because we've all been on a purple bass boat kick.
Yep, it's mainly silver with some black in it, and then on the back end, like up on top, it kind of fades into purple, and then it's got like the purple pinstripes on the back. Super beautiful boat, but
it's gorgeous.
I'd like to say that I bought it from my dad's dealership at Upper Iowa Marine, but I actually bought it from a guy from my fishing club. So that was the next best thing, I guess. I bought everything else though, all the electronics, the motor, everything else was from my dad. So
say it again. What's his shop?
Upper Iowa Marine is the name of the family dealership. I also got my uncle. He's one of the mechanics there, and like I said, my grandpa was also part owner with my dad.
That's really cool.
And all the other guys that work there are basically like family too. So they're
awesome. Yeah, look them up.
It's located in Decorah then, or?
Yeah, it's in Decorah. It's on Highway 9 going out towards Waukon there. But yeah, they're awesome. They've done so much for me. There's no way I'd be able to do everything I do without them. But I think a big misconception that a lot of people have is that, my dad just gave me a boat and a new motor and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's not the case. No, I've had to pay for all of it, and they've hooked me up a little bit, but nothing that's really like handing it out to me by any means.
Yeah.
Definitely. So what's the plan? Where do you go from here in terms of, I mean, I know it's just a couple days old, so if you don't have a plan, I'm sorry if that's too fresh of a question, but like, are you going to continue to use the Legend, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'd really like to just get the Legend fixed, and then probably just going to order a new motor again. And in the meantime, there's a couple 200 horse motors at the shop right now, but I'm going to have to get a different lower unit for them to be able to use them on the boat. So I'm kind of just trying to figure out, if there's a motor I can just get on the thing right now, but I also got to fix the fiberglass before I put it in the water again. So I don't know. It's not looking good for the Legend for the rest of this year, but thankfully I have a lot of good friends and connections, and I've had 3 or 4 people now that have offered me to use their boat, which is awesome.
So nice.
The only bad thing about that is
almost hunting season. So
yep. And I kind of had a similar deal last year, where my old motor went down for a little bit, and it was in the same time frame when I got married and hunting season was coming up. So it kind of worked out. And this year it's kind of going to do the same thing. The only bad thing is we have the Bass Nation State Tournament coming up in like 2 weeks, and I just don't know if I'm going to be able to make that work this year. I mean, even if I get another boat to borrow, it's just not going to be a good situation with.
Would that feel weird?
Yeah, it has to.
Would that feel weird
like
using
playing
someone
basketball
else's
in someone
boat?
else's shoes? I mean,
it really does. Yeah, I mean, when you fish as much as I do, like every single week, multiple days a week for 12 to 15 hours a day, your boat almost just feels like, it's like your shell.
Second
home. Part of you.
Yeah.
And when you try to switch over to a different boat, it just feels so awkward, and it almost just feels like you're handicapped, even if it's a nice boat. So that's the only downside. I mean, I'll definitely be willing to get into another rig to try to finish out my season, but I also don't want to go out and fish 30 to 40 more times for the rest of the year out of someone else's boat, because that's a lot of time that I could be messing something up for someone else. I'd hate to hit something or have any problems really with the motor, anything like that. So I'm probably going to just do the bare minimum as far as fishing tournaments for the rest of the year goes, but I'm planning on getting into that last BFL to try to make the regional. And, if the stars line up, maybe I'll win a new boat at the end of the year.
Hey,
you never know. Yeah, sometimes it takes that crooked path to get to where you're going.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Honestly, though, I think I'm just pretty lucky that nothing bad happened. I've heard a lot of really, really scary stories about people that have died and people that have gotten severely hurt and similar accidents to what I had. And the fact that both me and the co-angler are good to go and we walked away without a scratch, it's kind of a miracle, honestly. And
no doubt.
That's the biggest thing. I mean, we spend a lot of time just chasing after all these bass, but when it comes down to it, like your health and your ability to get back out there and go fishing again is the most important thing. So
for sure. Do you think you'll be like hesitant or nervous to get back out there? I was going to say gun shy too. Yeah. Like,
not
do you
at
feel like, I'm good? Okay.
Not at all. I love it with a smile. I love it.
I feel like I'd be like, let's not go so fast.
Yeah.
No, the way that I kind of look at it is I've been fishing that river for hundreds of hours every year, and it's kind of just something that's bound to happen sooner or later. But it definitely did shake me up a little bit at the time. But I don't know. I kind of like a little bit of an adrenaline rush every now and then. Just wish it wasn't
that way.
I imagine.
It didn't happen like that.
Yeah. Tell me about the phone call to your wife, or how that communication went.
Well, the phone call was pretty short. I just told her what happened, asked her if she could come down and meet me in Lansing. But she told me after she got down there that she was kind of in tears all the way down. And I think most of my family was. I know my mom was kind of taking it hard, and a lot of people not only were just glad that I was okay and kind of just emotional about the situation, but also the fact that my boat went down again, and it's going to kind of mess up the fishing season. And they all know how much I put into it.
Yeah, they're your support.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
they all know how much you care and love for that boat, like it's like a part of you.
Yeah, I mean, that's my boat, my truck, and my house are what pretty much every day at work is for. So
yeah.
Yep.
Man.
Yep.
Crazy. Yeah, and I mean, we were talking earlier. You know, you could easily let your brain go down like that, kind of like that slippery slope of like. I mean, Nate had told me videos. What's that product that Joe? What's his last name? Patazik from Bass Attack. Shout out. That he runs on his Merc. What's it called? The Leash. Is that what that is, Nate?
Yeah, the leash. Yeah, the leash. Yeah.
We were just saying how, like, you know, people have had things where they hit something and the lower unit comes, you know, with the motor, of course, comes swinging all the way around to the back deck. And things could have gone so much worse for you, dude. And I mean, that's easy for me to say from my couch.
Right.
I didn't go through what you just went through, but I mean, they could have gone worse, man. And so I think for you to be here just a couple days removed and have the foresight, the maturity to say, like, you know, it's a miracle, I would have to kind of agree with you, man.
And then be totally stoked to get back out there.
Yeah,
like,
to get right back on it.
So dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of things that definitely went right for us to walk away from that without anything bad happening, really. But at the same time, you know, part of me just can't help but think about all the things that went wrong for that even to happen in the first place. And that's kind of where I'm at. I feel like there's a good chance that something could have happened, that we could have gotten hurt, but I also feel like that just shouldn't have even happened in the first place. And I just really don't know how to feel about it. I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and it's been.
Are you an overthinker? Were you replaying it in your head over and over, or?
Yeah, I would say I'm definitely an overthinker about some things, but I think my wife would say that I'm an underthinker when it comes to other things.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that's pretty common.
Yeah.
I've heard that a few on my end.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But like with this, did you play it like over and over?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, well, what went wrong and how could I have done this differently? And if I would have done this, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Like,
have you let your brain do that, or are you trying to stay away from that mess?
My brain has been going there nonstop, but I keep trying to not think about it. But yeah, like every time that I think about that it happened and watch that video, it just kind of makes me wish that I would have ran out and just took the main channel. And that's really the only thing that I could have done that would have 100% avoided that. But I mean, other than that, it's just something that happened, and it's done and over with. So you can't go back and change it. You just got to learn from it and try to make better decisions from here on out. And like you guys were talking about the leash, I've never even heard of that thing until this happened. So I'm probably going to end up putting that on the new motor for sure. And I think a lot of people will after this happen. Yeah, especially on the river. That place is shallow, especially right now. It's hard to find water that's over like 3 or 4 feet deep out there right now, other than the main river. So I know a lot of people haven't been running the leash, and a lot of people probably don't even know about it. So that's probably one of the biggest things that people have learned out of this. And man, if we can save someone from hitting something and actually getting hurt, then I'm kind of glad that this happened, and we could all learn from it. So
hey Nate, while we're on that topic, give us 2 seconds. Walk us through what that is. Walk us through what the leash is, Nate. Tell people what that is.
Honestly, I don't really know exactly what it's made of, but it's more of like almost a braided steel cable that that goes around the lower unit, and it bolts to the motor mount or to the motor. And it keeps the motor from coming up into the back of the boat if you ever do hit an obstruction in the water. So it's I think they're pricey actually, but if it's something that can save your life, it's probably worth it. 'Cause like you said, we've seen all those pictures where the motors come up to the back boat, or in between the seats, and the prop is still spinning or something like that. It can get really bad. So just lucky to be blessed you are. So
yeah, man. Our buddy Joe, who I was talking about, he is a super cool dude, fishes on the Bass Attack. He has a, I don't know how new, pretty new Nitro 20 XL. Is it 20 or 21, Nate?
I think it's a 21 XL. Yeah.
Okay. And he's Joe's whole thing is he's obsessed with black and lime green, everything. And even his leash is black with like lime green. So like you can get them customized. You can make them match your whole vibe. They don't look weird. They give you free use of your trim and your jack plate. It doesn't affect anything there. And like Nate said, it's like a bungee cord on steroids. So should the worst happen and you hit something, I mean, just think if you're going forward and the lower unit hits something under the water, it's going to kick the motor backwards, and if it's attached to the bolts, you just think like a circle. Like if you put a pencil on a string and then tied that string down, the pencil goes in a perfect circle. That's what the lower unit does. That's how I used to like build quarter pipes back in the day skateboarding.
You are so cute.
And so like that's how the lower unit's gonna go on a line, stuck to the boat, it's gonna come right back up onto the back deck. So that leash allows free movement, but it doesn't allow it to kick all the way up, and it pulls it back down. So even if you mess your whole thing up, it's not gonna come onto the back deck. I mean, there's some pretty gnarly stories and videos and pictures out there of that happening, and it's no joke. I mean,
okay, so here's a dumb question.
Yeah.
If Colin, would have had the leash, would it have held the motor onto the boat?
I don't know that it would have held the motor. Well, it might have pinned it where it's just attached by other parts. I don't think it would have saved it.
I'm curious if it would have.
Yeah. And can we talk about how strong? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think based on the mounting location of the leash, it probably wouldn't have prevented it from breaking way off. But instead of being at the bottom of the river, it may be, dangling at the back of the boat or something.
That's what I was wondering. It could be like dangling there. Yeah.
Might have kind of pinned it
honestly,
up against
could maybe have done more damage to the boat, if that were to happen. So, but that's
true.
On the back deck. So.
It's like pinned on there, still spinning.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think in my situation, it might have made it worse, honestly. I think what happened was the best thing that could have happened. But
what an anomaly situation to break the motor mounts. I mean, what in the name of God? And Colin, how strong are Legend transoms? Holy Lord.
I've heard some good stories about them, and now that I put it to the test, I'm a believer.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend putting it to the test that way. Yeah, but holy Lord. How much inspection have you done of your boat, like in the transom, like back in the battery compartment? Like, is there cracking? Is it warped at all? Is it just?
I haven't done a lot, but everything looks really good. Other than
so good.
You can tell the damage that there is to the fiberglass. It's from something hitting it. Like the motor must have hit the back, and then that little bit on the bottom, on the very back of the boat was probably from hitting the log. But yeah, I mean, everything else seems like it's pretty good. But the jack plate is kind of bent, so you're gonna have to get a new jack plate for it too. But yeah, I'm praying to God everything is worth fixing, and we can get that Legend going again, because I absolutely love it. Ride's super nice, awesome to fish out of. So
yep. What jack plate do you run?
99, isn't it?
Yep.
And I think he said what jack
plate do you run?
I'm not sure exactly what the brand was again. It's a manual jack plate.
Right.
So it's not a hydraulic one. And honestly, I'm a little bit glad that I can maybe get rid of that one and go with a hydraulic jack plate now. But probably gonna be looking at a new Atlas.
Yep. Yeah, like a black one on that boat would look really good.
Yep. Maybe get some purple.
I was gonna say purple on it.
Yeah, that would be sick for sure. So let's close it out there. And again, thank you times a million for being on this podcast and being willing, number one, to talk about tacos. I know that's a hard thing to talk about sometimes. Number two, talking about this kind of, I can't think of a better word for it. Just carnage, just mechanical carnage. Yeah. And again, I said it twice or thrice, maybe. I watched the video. There is nothing that Colin is doing here that I'm like, oh man, he should have this. And there's so many internet experts who can kick a rock and just walk somewhere else. But there's nothing where he's like, trimmed way up or trimmed way down or steering all wonky or he's walking real bad and so trying to eat nothing. He's just running down the river. It didn't look crazy at all to me.
Right.
Stuff happens. So thank you, man, for coming on and being willing to talk through all that. Before we let you go, will you please hit us with hit the people with your socials? I know you told us about your YouTube, but how do people find you just in general?
So my YouTube channel is where I post all my videos, and that's Grind Season Outdoors. I also have a page on Facebook and Instagram for Grind Season Outdoors, along with my personal pages. So I'd prefer, like, if people want to follow my personal page, to go on Instagram and just follow that. I do post a lot of like fishing related and hunting related stuff on Facebook too. I kind of use my personal page as more just posting all that. I really don't post personal stuff everywhere online at all. But yeah, I mean, basically it's YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Really, I'm not a big TikTok guy by any means. So
you're not out there doing dances and stuff?
No, not at all. A quick funny story about that though. My brother, he started a TikTok account, and I went over to my dad's place one day after work, and me and a few of my siblings, we kind of just made some weird videos, and one of the videos I ran up and I stuffed my little 8-year-old brother, 8 or 9 years old or whatever he was at the time, and he was trying to shoot baskets with a basketball, and I just ran up and blocked him out of nowhere, and he turned around and dropped the F-bomb.
Oh my gosh.
My brother posted that on his TikTok page, and it ended up blowing up. There was, I think, Sports Center and ESPN all shared it.
Oh my gosh.
All the platforms, and all together, I think the video ended up getting like 20 million views or something crazy.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing, dude.
That's awesome.
And again, here you are working your can off, hunting specific deer, helping people learn how to fish better, and then your little brother being like beep after you block them just explodes.
That's what I'm saying. We just do some dumb stuff and it blows up. But all the stuff that you actually work hard at and you accomplish, it's like no one cares to really watch all that.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's not as cute as a little boy cussing and getting blocked in a weird little basketball deal for sure. So Nate, Lola, you guys got anything else you want to
just thank you so much. This is so like really unexpectedly fun, and it was great.
Yeah. Well, before I leave, I do have something to show you guys.
Oh yeah,
show and tell. What are we doing, dude?
Look at you, Colin.
Come on, man.
Thanks for saving our life here. We did ask Colin to bring a show and tell,
and then
we totally forgot because we were so just engaged in the Alpha 199 series story with the boat. So what do you got? What do you got for show and tell, Colin?
Alrighty. Well, I'm glad that I made the right decision on what I brought here. I brought a couple of the sheds from
Crazy geez.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Look at that thing, dude.
That's the drop time that he had
chunky.
the year before I got him. Yep.
Wow.
But I wanted to bring the whole head mount, but I had to leave it at the house. So
yeah, that's understandable. Man, I can't believe they only scored 140. That thing's thick too. Like it's got some mass on it, and that's the year before you shot it. So I assume it got thicker and bigger than that. Yeah,
it did a little bit. This side was the side that he grew the big drop tine on the following year.
Sure.
On this side, he grew right there. Yeah. He grew his.
That's where it came in. That's tine. So cool.
Yep, but he lost this G3 here. The year that I got him. So he just
flipped, like it went under.
Yeah, basically this one just went down.
Yeah. It dripped down.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Dude, that is so rad.
But super cool.
Thank you for showing that.
Yeah,
hit us with a rattle. Give us a rattle.
They're kind of awkward to rattle with.
Yeah,
the big brow tines in there. But
look at that thing. Oh, yeah, dude. Gosh, that's sick.
Heck yeah.
Wow, that is so dope. Well, yeah, man. So thank you again for being on the show. Best of luck this year, bow hunting, shotgun hunting. Here in Wisconsin, we have rifle hunting. Illinois and Iowa is shotgun only. And honestly, man, like not to pump you up on some fake stuff, but you can absolutely come back from this like stronger than you were before the log fiasco. Like you can come back more focused and more appreciative, and like it's crazy the things that life uses to like recenter our vision. And not that you even needed it, not that you were like way off or anything, but it's crazy how sometimes it takes that, like for men, that kick in the nuts to be like, all right, now I'm going to whatever. I'm going to look at things a little differently, or I'm going to trust my initial gut, like when you were going to run on that one side and then you decided to go the other way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you can come back stronger, smarter, more strategic than ever with this. And I think, you're 25, dude. Like, you're not old like me. Like, you have so much time to like, if you really want to be on the elites, like, there's legitimately nothing stopping you from getting there. And I think the fact that your dad, runs that marine place, that's such a rad, not that you're getting like free hookups, but that's an awesome resource to have in your pocket. And, I think in the future you'll be the one where he's begging you for shout outs. He's looking to you for like a handout, like, hey, talk about me when you get your next blue trophy. And he's like, shut up, Dad, you never hooked me up.
Oh, stop.
I don't know, but yeah, man, I see nothing but good for you in the future, dude. Truly.
Yep.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me on here, and I've spent pretty much my whole life working from being the kid fishing on the bank to running the boat that I'm running now and fishing the tournaments I am. And I feel like if I just keep doing the right things and keep working hard, then the sky is the limit. And
it is.
Definitely.
We'll see where everything goes. But I mean, if you set your goals high, I feel like you're always going to be happy with, what happens. So
agreed.
We'll be here cheering for you.
Yeah, man. You have 3 new fans for sure. So, Colin, thank you for coming on, ladies and gentlemen. Colin Tweten, thank you for being here, man.
You.
Appreciate you for sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate you, dude.
All right, so that was Colin. I don't know, Nate, what do you think? I'm stoked on how that went, because I didn't want to focus too much on just the crash deal or whatever you'd call it. I wanted to talk about hunting. I wanted to talk about tacos. Yeah. Dude was incredibly articulate, super gracious, nice cat. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, no, he's definitely to watch out for. He's kind of on the up and up, on the rise, especially in the local scene. Like he's been doing it the right way, like he said. So shout out to him and thanks for coming on and all that. I talked to him a little bit yesterday about it. And I kind of lean more towards like the tournament. If he gets into a situation where he needs a boat, maybe I'll jump into that last BFL as a co-angler and let him use my boat. That a guy that's worked that hard, you got to try to help out whenever they can, whenever you can, when they're in need. So
yeah, I like that.
I love that, Nate. That'd be dope too. That'd be dope if you guys did run that BFL. Yeah. And he said he'd take us out on 9. I've never been on 9, so I might have to actually take him up on that.
Yes.
I mean, that
is so awesome, dude.
I know, and I know it's dope, right? Like, I've fished pool 9, not like fished pool 9. Like I've been there, like, because pool 9 is prairie, right? Like all the back sloughs and all the whatever. Yes.
No, prairie's 10.
Oh, that's right. That's what I've been. Yeah, I've fished 10, but not like hard. But I've not fished 9 then. Okay, yeah. So 10 is the one that's like it looks like a weird map of sloughs and backwaters and whatever all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so Colin, if you're still listening, I will humbly take you up on taking me out on pool 9. We'll bring my legend and we'll just avoid stuff.
Oh my God. Too soon?
I don't know. That's not a joke. I just mean, whatever. But what you got, Lola? Anything to hit us with before we roll on out of her?
No, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I think I'm sweating. That light's very hot.
It is very bright. And honestly, this is my favorite thing about fishing, hunting, outdoorsy stuff. We've never talked to Colin before.
Yeah.
And I guarantee if he cut through this area coming back from River Garden, Prairie Stream, or wherever he is in Minnesota.
Spring Grove.
I was close.
Not even.
It wouldn't be weird at all.
No,
like, he could stop by the house
I'll make you dinner.
Yeah, he could stop by the house and grab a soda and we make some tacos and just chill. And I love that about. Again, it's not that you can't make friends being car guys, because you can. I've been in that scene.
Yeah.
You can't not make friends. I don't know, being a professional scrapbooker. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
But like, there's something about the outdoors that just bonds people. And I would say to anybody hearing this, watching this, lean into that, man. Lean into the cool friendships that are formed in the outdoors, because at the end of your life, I don't think when you're laying on your deathbed somewhere, I always see it as I'm gonna die in a hospital. I don't want to die in a hospital. I'd rather die in like a blaze of glory. Sorry, getting shot at by an outlaw or something cool.
Oh my gosh.
In a saloon. I think I'm in the wrong time period.
Yeah, what are you?
Anyway, but I think people always think of like when they're dying, like nobody's going to look back and be like, I wish I would have, I don't know, scrolled through Instagram one more time. I wish I would have bought a vintage hat on Etsy just one more time. Like people are going to look back and be like,
they remember your outdoor.
They'll remember the relationships, the friendships, the people they bonded with, people who maybe they never thought they would. Who's to say that maybe a year from now, me and Colin aren't running some BFLs together, or he's coming up here when I don't have a co-angler and he's fishing bass attack with me, or I don't, like there's just something so rad
for sure
about the outdoor connections that just work out. Oh, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, Colin, so if I have to edit this out, I'm not gonna. But Colin is talking about starting a podcast. And I would love to be a resource to Colin and be like, here's some equipment I would look at. Here's some equipment I would avoid. Or like, here's, how our buddies at Working Class Bow Hunter do it and what works for them. And like, there's just something so cool about it.
Yep. I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
Nate, you got anything?
Do you love it?
I love it.
He leaned in all slow and just said, I love it. Well, Nate, thank you for putting up with us too, Nate, for all the technical weirdness and trying to get everything set up week in and week out. I appreciate the fire out of you, dude. And don't ever forget, anybody listening, if Colin isn't the most prime example ever with everything he's been going through, positivity is worth the effort. We will catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Peace.